Hi there, welcome to 60 Matthews. I'm Matthew, and in honor of Father's Day, today I'm going to be talking about why I got my father's tattoo. My dad was one of my idols. He was one of my biggest sources of inspiration. He was always a very logical person. He stuck to his guns, and at times he was very stubborn. Whenever I wanted to go to college for theater, his response was basically, "But how are you going to get paid?" At the time, I didn't see that as a valid argument. A very, very valid argument. I just thought that he wasn't supportive of me and my creative arts. But whenever I was a freshman in college, as soon as I moved away from home, he got diagnosed with cancer. It was a very scary and trying time for him and for my family, but fortunately for all of us, he survived. And not only did he survive, he acquired this deeper love of living. My dad was always a pretty chill, calm, and collected person, but after he literally faced death, and there are stories where he's seen the bright light and all of that, after he survived cancer, he became much more mindful and much more present in the moment. He loved going out on the lake and fishing or just sitting in the water. He loved coming out to the woods and listening to the bugs and the birds. He never considered himself to be an artist, but he was a beautiful photographer. He would come out to the woods and take pictures of every little thing. In fact, that was one of his biggest takeaways from cancer, was that it was the little things that we remember, the little things that make us happy, and the little things that make the biggest difference. After he survived cancer, he became much more spiritual, and while he was always a Christian, he was able to talk to me and my Buddhist philosophies, and we were able to enjoy the middle ground. But this ability to talk and find common ground was not just who he was as a person, it was what he was trained to do. It was his career, and that's where this tattoo comes in. This is a Native American peace pipe, and he got it because whenever the Native Americans or the Pilgrims or whenever any of them had problems, they wouldn't settle it on the battlefield. They would sit around in a circle, pass this pipe between them, and talk about their problems. They would talk about their issues, their feelings. They would all talk it out and come to this unified agreement. And for 20-something years, before he had to retire because of cancer, my dad was a counselor. He was the guy that sat in the chair and asked, "And how does that make you feel?" But in many ways, my dad was the peacekeeper. In marriages and families, in any dispute, my dad was able to take both sides of the issue, have them come together, talk about their problems, and solve them. As kids, my sister and I were never physically abused. Our biggest punishment was usually getting some kind of long-winded lecture, because my dad always wanted us to see the logic in his decisions. But as an adult, I'm so grateful that he instilled that logic within me. No matter what my emotions are, whether my brain has 3 or 4 different sides of an issue that it's trying to grapple with, I am able to find some kind of common ground between all of them. And I think that that's so relevant to today. I think we all need to take a page out of that book. I think instead of arguing and fighting, we all need to talk to each other and come to a unified agreement. And most importantly, listen. Listen to each other. My dad had such an impeccable ability to listen intently, to hear what everyone had to say, and not just listening to a word or two so that I could come up with my own response to it, but listening and internalizing their words. He was an amazing counselor in that way, to where he would never tell you what you needed to do, but he would talk to you to where you would figure it out for yourself. Now, I'm sure you've noticed I've been talking about him in the past tense, because almost 3 years ago, he passed away due to cancer. It was a 10-year, hard-fought battle, and ultimately, cancer won. But my dad put up a fierce fight for those 10 years. He was never discouraged by anything. He always fought so hard to hold on to this beautiful life we get to enjoy. My dad only had the peace pipe on his arm, but the text was my addition to the piece. "You happen to be good medicine." That was one of the last text messages he sent me before he passed. It was a beautiful message, and it was a beautiful moment in my life, despite my sadness for losing my dad. As much as I was saddened by his death, it made me appreciate his life even more. I'm so incredibly grateful to have him as a father, to have him as a counselor, as an idol, as an inspiration. I still feel his presence around me. And after he passed, I started to understand the phrase, "He'll always be there in your heart." I understand that now, and I feel that. I still miss him, though. I miss talking to him. I still miss our long-winded talks about everything from TV shows to food to politics to philosophy. I'm sure somewhere in the heavenly ether they have internet access, so I'm sure he gets to see this video from somewhere. I love you, Dad. Thank you for everything you've done for me. Thank you for helping me become the man I am today. I hope I've made you proud, and I hope I continue to carry out your discipline. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.